I kind of realized one simple fact, how easy it is to save a life.
As a person who has experienced it, it's a shit scary thought for the person.
And it's not something that I'm बैठे बैठे क्या करे करना है कुछ काम चलो suicide कर लेते हैं. It's not what is happening.
Yeah.
Rashmi, you have a lot of pain in your life. Is there a single individual in the whole world who knows your pain completely?
No, probably even I don't know it.
There you go. But somehow sitting here, we know why Sushant Singh Rajput killed himself. That's the tragedy.
Meditation in our head is like you have to be still for an hour.
Everyone has a different meaning of meditation. Sorry for bringing that word up. Everyone has this very weird understanding of meditation as well. But simply put, like having exercises for your mind as well.
Yes.
Let me put it that way.
Sometimes families would also be like, how can you think like that? You know, is this how I've raised you? You need to be strong. Or they just get so scared and there's so much fear around, even sharing this.
Our expectation is that if I allow the person to speak about such deep, dark thoughts, what I'm doing is I'm promoting it. I'm almost validating their action of suicide.
Yes.
So when I ask them to talk about suicide and I am able to hold space for them, indirectly what I'm telling them is, go kill yourself, I'm completely fine with that. And the question is, was that what you were doing?
No.
But imagine if there is someone standing in a burning building. So it's really hot, really painful for them, and they jump. Would you call that a suicide? That majority of the people who will hear just that description will say, no, Sachin, that was not a suicide. And the main difference between the burning building suicide and every other suicide is in the burning building example, you were witness to their pain and desperation. Otherwise, a lot of caregivers' hypocrisy is just this. I am there for everyone.
Yeah, I'm the savior. I'll take care of you.
I'll take care of you no matter what. Do you have the resource? I'll manage it.
Why?
I'm going to take care of you. I don't need it.
Yes.
What I meant to say when I'm having suicidal thoughts is not that I want to die. What I'm saying is I'm in a lot of pain. I'm not able to bear it. And when the person is inside the ambulance, does the ambulance driver say that I'm going to make him live, I'm going to save his life no matter what? Or his job is purely to accompany the person till the hospital? They reach the hospital, do they even get a thank you? They have to run back for the next call. That's what a suicide prevention volunteer's job is.
That's explained so beautifully. Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. Today's episode is personal, not because I have read about Sachin or I have noticed his work from afar, but because I have had the privilege to attend his trainings. And with all honesty, I can tell you, it's a life-shifting experience. Let me introduce Sachin Chitambaran. With 15 plus years of experience in emotional support, suicide prevention, dot listening, Sachin has trained thousands of people. He is the founder and director of training, the Connect Hut, co-founder and director of training at the Unkahi, which is a suicide prevention helpline, president Befrienders Initiative. Sachin's journey started with Samaritans UK. He is a certified trainer for QPR suicide prevention from USA. This is not just a podcast. It's a simple reminder that sometimes all you need to do is listen. Let's talk with Sachin and understand how can we sit with pain, understand grief and healing, and about suicide prevention. Hi, Sachin.
Hi, Rashmi.
Welcome. Finally, we get to do the podcast that I've been waiting for almost a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah,
Yes.
but thank you. I know your schedules are really hectic and busy, and you had a training today morning also. But
Yes, but thank you so much for having me. I know it's been something that has been on my to-do list for ages as well, but finally we managed to fix the time. And so thank you so much for having me over.
It's our pleasure. The team had a great time chatting with you.
Yes, I had a lovely time too.
So, Sachin, I know you must have been asked this question 100 times, but I don't want the LinkedIn profile of Sachin.
Sure.
I want the human profile of Sachin. What made you want to volunteer or even go and check out Samaritans UK? What was going on personally or with you, if you may share?
Right. So now I have been asked this question multiple times, and the funny thing is that usually people expect a sad story or a melodramatic life that a person has gone through and is now hell-bent on changing the world and wanting to make right what is wrong. Unfortunately, I do not have any such story about it. My exposure to pain, trauma has been, I do believe I've had a very privileged life. I've had my share of abuse or traumas myself, but I do believe I've been a privileged person with regards to the family, the support that I've had for the longest of time in my life. However, to kind of chart my journey out into how did I reach Samaritans. I used to be the agony uncle of the group, right? And growing up, I think I'm very often I have not got myself diagnosed, but there's a very high chance I may be on the autism spectrum as well. In terms of life has been a very curious thing for me growing up, where the simplest things where people may claim something and are doing the opposite of it. When I have maybe shared some piece of information to Rashmi, and then I may share something to Avanti for that matter. But what Rashmi's response has been to the exact same thing that I shared is very different from what Avanti's has been. This used to really confuse me.
Okay.
For lack of better this thing. Like Rashmi got excited and was like, hey, that's such great news. And Avanti was like, how dare you share this with me or tell me this or you're so whatever. So for me, this was an intellectual conundrum where I didn't change, my context didn't change, my words didn't change, but the person's response was
different,
completely different. And what this led me to was a curiosity into what makes people tick. Right? As to what is it that everything is the same, but this one has a very different response to this one. And it was this curiosity that began my journey into listening itself. Like, okay, it looks very dangerous if I'm presenting my own opinions or something regarding a subject. But what I learned was if I just listen to them, they may take their time, but they explain it to me.
Okay.
So I don't have to kind of make up my own mind or try and find out. All I just needed to do was give them 5 minutes more and they will explain it to me. And that's kind of what I did. So like I said, I was the agony uncle of the group. And growing up, it was going completely fine. I was, like I said, it was a privileged bubble. I had, all happy memories and everything. But then my career took me to do my master's. And that's when I came to the UK. I was in London. It was a culture shock, as one may expect. For example, the first time I went to the London Metro or the London Underground, for me, I was just so, it was such a claustrophobic experience, not because I was in a underground space, but more because nobody was talking.
Oh.
The subway station, it was full of people. But there's it felt like a library, and just like this room, right? Almost the way it's soundproof, you can almost hear silence in the backdrop. That's what I was perceiving there.
Isn't that something that's not happening even now?
Yeah.
Even if you're at a metro station today,
right,
people are not talking.
Right. Everyone's with their earphones on. Everyone's
mobile phones.
Right. Everyone's got their own private silos that they're operating out of. They are in the metro, but they are not there. If that makes sense. So this was a major culture shock for me, right? This disconnection that from environment. There is no cacophony of people, sounds, emotions, which you're used to in India, in Mumbai especially. So I was just kind of getting out of that culture shock where I also felt the pang of disconnection where in India, I told you it was a privileged bubble. I couldn't have more people in my life. There were just so
Here,
many.
if you need silence, it's difficult to ask for it in the family.
Right.
It'll be like, are you okay?
Right. And while I was in the UK, it was more like, right, it's been some time since I've been able to connect with another human being. And to be honest, what I did was I Googled listening. I missed that aspect of knowing people, knowing the undercurrents of it. I was doing my thesis, I was working a part-time job, and I was still home at 6.
Oh.
Right. And I left home at 10 and I'm already home at 6. And what do I do with all this extra time?
Oh.
It was like a real shock for me. So I Googled listening, where I was thinking if there is any opportunity to be a listening volunteer. Are there any organizations?
You had any idea that there's something called as listening and a volunteer?
No. I was just trying out my luck. I'm like, I'm in the western part of the world.
Maybe
they may have something.
Okay.
So I just Googled that, and on the first page itself, I came across Samaritans.
Interesting.
Right. I literally just Googled listening volunteer and stuff like that. And first page, there was Samaritans. I was like, I have no clue there is something known as a suicide prevention helpline even then. So looked up at the website, the familiar green logo. I was like, okay, what are they saying here? What are they selling here, right? And I saw that this was all about suicide prevention. I kind of went through the whole thing with a fine-tooth comb to try and understand what's the gimmick here? What are they trying to do here? And everywhere it just felt like purely it was about listening. And this really appealed to me. But I was still kind of like,
not sure.
Not sure, but let me just
try.
Yeah, let me throw in my hat. I reached out to them. I sent them an email, and they told me, hey, we are having a group discussion and stuff like that on so and so day. Do you want to just drop in? I dropped in. I saw the conversation, the way how for them, listening was not getting distracted by strong biases. Like in the group discussion, we were thrown with some very controversial issues like homosexuality, homophobia, AIDS. If someone were wishing to die, and different controversial ideas were thrown around, and all I could sense was like everyone was getting agitated. Hearing, oh no, but this is not right. This is not.
So judgments.
Yeah, a lot of judgments were getting thrown out. Yes.
Yeah.
And it was quite surprising for me, like people who don't even know each other were suddenly having fights on basis of different opinions. But somehow the Samaritans guys, they were just pleasantly there, just helping the conversation proceed. And lo and behold, I realized I was one of the participants who got selected. And that began my journey into understanding the values of what listening actually pertains to, so that non-judgmental, confidential, anonymous type of listening. And with my training over there, I kind of realized one simple fact, how easy it is to save a life. Now, I know this may be a big sentence, how easy it is to save a life. But once you go through that whole procedure, even we may begin to see that.
Yes.
And that's kind of, it was like, wow, it's such a simple thing. Absolutely anyone can do it. And I was thinking, why are so many people dying then?
Yes.
And funny enough, I've spoken to others as well. I literally thought suicide was a white man issue.
I thought
this was one of my biases, right? That, oh my God, the disconnection, loneliness is so bad.
India mein to doesn't happen.
India mein to
our families don't leave us.
Yeah, your business is everyone's business. So what loneliness, what isolation are we talking about?
Here, if you want time for yourself, it's difficult to get it.
Right. So for me, my experience with Samaritans was almost like me indulging my curiosity into the human mind, and I almost felt like a petri dish that I'm working with. And as inhuman as it may sound, for me it was knowledge gathering as a process. I wanted to really understand what is happening behind the scenes, and the more I ventured into it, the more it felt I was getting exposed to human vulnerability, and the more I saw how easy it was for us to access it, and that it's the less I do that helps that process to happen. So that was kind of like the mantra, the beginning of that. It's about not doing than doing.
But that's so difficult, right?
Very nuanced.
Not doing. It's like, so I attended your suicide prevention training, .listening last year in March, and because I've been there, that's what I shared with you during the training as well. It was like, he is exactly saying the words that I have experienced. So, okay, this man is getting into my head. He can actually know what I must have gone through at that point. And it felt there is someone who understands.
Right.
Because, yes, there is judgment. There's a lot of fear. Sometimes families would also be like, how can you think like that? Is this how I raised you? You need to be strong. Or they just get so scared and there's so much fear around, even sharing this.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving that space to people. And later, as I started my journey as a therapist, and I realized this training has really helped me a lot. Because like I shared earlier, intake form, it does have this question about do you have suicidal thoughts? And earlier, I could not ask this question.
Yeah.
So it was easier to put it on a form.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, okay, give it to them, they will write it.
And if they haven't written it, so obviously they are not comfortable talking about it. So why should I start that conversation?
And I would look at the form and actually skip everything and first go there.
Yeah.
And I would be like, I hope it's a no.
Yeah.
Because the minute it's a no, I'm relaxed. But you taught me how to be okay if someone writes yes. Going further, ask the question. So even in the training, the role play and the practice that we did, it was difficult to even ask somebody.
Yeah.
Your own peers, 45 hours of training, can't ask.
Yes. And do you see the challenge, Rashmi? For a lot of us, we don't even realize that I have this challenge.
Yeah, true.
Right? With someone who's trying to help someone with suicidal ideation or things like that, if I were to say, hey, have you asked them if they're having suicidal thoughts? No. I'm like, okay, how are you planning to go through this conversation with them and all? It's like, do I need to really bring this up?
Yeah.
Because our expectation is that if I allow the person to speak about such deep, dark thoughts, what I'm doing is I'm promoting it.
Implanting the thought.
Not just implanting, I'm almost validating their action of suicide.
Yes.
So when I ask them to talk about suicide and I am able to hold space for them, indirectly what I'm telling them is, go kill yourself. I'm completely fine with that. In fact, you know what? You should do it. And the question is, was that what you were doing? No. That's not what anyone does. Right? That is definitely not something you were doing. But the association here is, if I don't call it out as something bad, if you are having suicidal ideation, and if I don't say these words that that's not good, then I'm being supportive.
But, I don't know if this is the right word. The funny part is, as a person who has experienced it, it's a shit scary thought for the person, because you're fighting with it in your own head, and you're already asking yourself, how can you think like this?
Yes.
Where are you going? I mean, look at your family. You have this, you have that. There is so much to take care of. It's a very, very scary thought. So it's like somebody asking you that question gives you a little release. Ki, I can at least tell this person, yes, I am getting those thoughts.
And it's not something that I'm बैठे बैठे क्या करे करना है कुछ काम चलो suicide कर लेते हैं. It's not what is happening, right? It's not that I'm thinking like I don't know what else to do, so let me think about my own mortality and how I want to end my life. Because people have this very fantastical notion around suicidal ideation that when someone is having suicidal thoughts, what they mean to do or what they are trying to say is they are wishing upon death. Right, and this is we cover this in a lot of our trainings where the definition of suicide itself comes in this way. What do I mean? If you look at the definition of suicide, it is about harming oneself with an intention to die. Right, simple, very easy to understand, right? But what does that intention mean?
I'm so much in pain. I don't know.
No, unfortunately, what we are seeing is that intention to die. What that means is now the person wanted to die.
Yeah.
The person was like
giving up on life.
Giving up on life. The person was either attention seeking. They were trying like they, or they gave up, or it's an easy way out rather than going through the complications of life and the whole thing. They took the easy way out.
Yeah.
Or it's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
Or it's a sign of cowardice. Buzdali. And sometimes even it's a sign of courage. Look what they had to do.
Yeah.
They jumped from 70th floor. That's so courageous. Right? So we tend to look at suicide from an ethical lens. And it's very important to identify that there is a lens operating even amongst seasoned professionals. And how does this lens look like? Like, for example, if I fell down, if I slipped while getting down a bus, or if I slipped down a flight of stairs, or a car, I was trying to cross the street and a car banged in with me, all of these scenarios would be called an accident.
Yes.
Right? There is no, it was a accidental accident, or this is a genuine accident, or we don't make such an accident. We may just add like it was a vehicular accident. It was a whatever.
But with suicide, we add these things.
But no, we don't. What we do is, I mean, we add our bias, but we don't call it even suicide. What does that mean? So, for example, and this is you have heard the analogy before, but imagine if there is someone standing in a burning building, right? And the fire is really bad. The building is, let's say, 50 floors high, and it's on fire, and the person is like feeling the fire. So it's really hot, really painful for them, and they jump. Now the challenge is, would you call that a suicide? Right? Now, I know for a fact that majority of the people who will hear just that description will say, no, Sachin, that was not a suicide. Why? Because the person didn't want to die, Sachin. Right? Okay, what do you mean? Well, the person didn't want to die. When they jumped, right, they were trying to escape the fire. In fact, if I was in their place, I would have done the same. Where is this coming from? Because can't you see the fire? It must be so painful.
So that's their only escape.
Can't you see the desperation that they didn't have a choice? That they couldn't do anything else? I'm like, fantastic. So what does that make it? A not suicide. It was an attempt to get help. It was an attempt to save their life. It was like better jump than be burnt. Because that right now is inevitable. Right. And we are able to come up with so many different conclusions. They jump to save their life. But nobody considers that nobody pushed the person. That our challenge, our problem is not with this suicide. Our fundamental problem is with every other suicide. And the main difference between the burning building suicide and every other suicide is, in the burning building example, you were witness to their pain and desperation. That was the only difference.
Because that was visible.
Yes. You could see the fire. You could see the helplessness that the person was experiencing. When you saw the person jump from that 50th floor because of the fire and the pain and all of these things, not a single one of us thought about how weak. Right? We didn't think that, it's so cowardly. Why? They couldn't even think about their parents, their family. How selfish. They just took the easy way out. They blah, 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 blah. Oh, it is an attention-seeking thing or even a courageous thing.
Yeah.
Look, 50th floor se kuda.
Seeking, it is, you're just threatening me.
Yes.
You're not going to do it. Blackmail.
Yes.
That's the most common thing I've also heard
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Right?
So when these are the ways we are identifying suicide to be, what we forget to see is each one of us is in some level of pain.
Yes.
Right? And what that means is each one of us is carrying our own little burning room inside. And
invisible.
It's invisible. Right? Because if I ask anyone here, even in the recording studio, there's Avanti as well, and we can check with her, is there pain in your life? The answer is probably going to be a yes.
Yeah.
Right? So what are we seeing here? There is a burning room with everyone. The only fact is, right now, the temperature of that burning room is manageable. It's a toasty 35-40, just enough to get you out of your bed in the morning, get you to work, come back in the evening and repeat.
Yeah, so you just keep doing it.
Right, that just the toasty warmth to get out of bed.
Yeah.
But now imagine if that internal temperature goes up to 1,000 degrees. Now where does the person escape? Do you get to see that pain? No. Because the question will be to everyone, right? Your pain. Rashmi, you have a lot of pain in your life. Is there a single individual in the whole world who knows your pain completely?
No, probably even I don't know it.
There you go. But somehow sitting here, we know why Sushant Singh Rajput killed himself. That's the tragedy. It's this fake confidence in our knowledge, which is completely an opinion that we have been passing between each other. Do we know about suicide? No.
And again, like you said, what all is there in that burning room inside that person?
Yeah.
We see the topmost layer. It's like, okay, breakup or, grief or loss or that. There's so much underneath that, which we fail to see.
Right.
It reaches that temperature slowly where you start accumulating and having all of this together.
Right.
So sometimes, it's also like, for this, you ended your life.
Yeah, because with suicide, if we fail to see that what suicide is or what suicidal thoughts are, they are a symptom. Right? Like pain is a symptom. And this is maybe a different way to view pain as well. Usually we have a love-hate relationship with pain, right? But to try and understand how do I mean pain is a symptom, like I pinched myself, there was a bit of pain, but it was a temporary, it didn't last. It was there till I was doing this action. And the moment I released it, the pain went away. This would be 1 degree of pain. But imagine at that same place, my hand broke. I may experience 10 degree of pain here.
Correct.
Same place. But do you see, it is important for us to have that difference in intensity. Imagine if I were to pinch myself and I had that level of pain. That would be a problem. And imagine same way, if my hand broke and I only had 1 degree of pain, that also would be a problem.
Yeah, correct.
I will not be able to prioritize or see that this needs urgent attention. A handbrake needs urgent attention. A pinch may not be so much. It's the same thing with our mind. What I've shared about our hand, instead, imagine it's our mind. Our mind is a tool, a resource that we have, but it's intangible. We don't know how to point a finger at it. It's not visible.
Yeah.
But it is a resource that can also experience pain. Psychological pain.
Yes.
Right? But then let's consider this. If a mind as a resource tool has to go through pain, how does it experience it?
Through the body.
Now, this is the challenge, right? Very often mental processes may not always be a somatic reaction.
Yeah.
But imagine this. If my mind is experiencing low level of pain, simple thing, you may feel distracted. Why? There is always something or the other going through your mind. So you're distracted. A bit more higher level of pain, psychologically, you may stop sleeping now.
Correct.
You may lose your sleep. How many of us complain about, oh, I overthink a lot, as if it's a badge of honor.
Constant voice.
Yes. All you're saying is I have absolutely zero control over my mind and what thoughts I need to have.
This is beautiful what you just said, because, a lot of times when people say, don't think like that, I can't control it. Anybody.
Because that's the thing, right? We are looking at a symptom and asking the person to stop the symptom. It's like, lag raha hai, I'm hurt. Hey, don't scream. Shh. And we give a logic as to why you shouldn't scream.
There's no on and off switch, right? Sense. Okay, off the switch, don't think like this, now on the other one. And
exactly.
It happens, and it happens so fast.
Right.
We're churning so many thoughts in a day, in a moment, constantly. And the way, other people try to bring you out of that pain, the person who's in pain is also doing that.
Yes.
I also want to come out. Yes. I don't want to be here.
Yes.
So, I always think about this. We teach, the earliest lesson is suppress your pain.
Yes.
Okay. If a child falls down, parent figure,
you hit the table. Bad floor.
Bad floor. Or if the child has had a fall, get up, dust yourself. You're strong. So this whole be strong that we start teaching right from childhood, and it's like, get up, there's no pain, it's okay, you're a strong boy, you're a strong girl, and you're going to be fine. Why can't we, as parents, as teachers, as adults, as caretakers, sit there? You got hurt? Okay. Pause. Do you need water? Give a little more pause. Now that child, Sachin, is not going to sit there for the rest of his or her life. Will get up. We don't give that space. It's like we just want to pull them out of that
because
space.
Your heart is bleeding for the child, right? Because the child is in pain, and what we want to do is somehow take the pain away from the child. But unfortunately, growing up as well, these small techniques, when the child did not actually hurt themselves. Think about it, when do we use this kabutar showing technique? It's what we are doing, right? Kabutar dikhao. So what are we doing here? The child fell down, and you have observed that the child may have not got physically hurt, but the shock of that may have startled them, and they have started crying. And your technique of distraction has helped. But we haven't left this. We are now doing this with adults as well.
Yeah.
We will try to do this even when the child got seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Does that work then? If your child is actually in agony and pain, they have hurt themselves, no matter how much kabutar you show, they will come back to their pain.
It's also, I wonder, as a child, it's like, can't you see what's happening to me?
Right.
So as adults also, when you're sitting with that pain, the voice in my head used to be like, can't you see? Okay. Though I know you can't, but it's like you're screaming for that space. Or that, every possible person in your life becomes the fixer.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So in psychodrama, we talk a lot about roles, and I love this. I myself am guilty of having a fixer role. Any friend, anybody, any family member, there is a problem. Do this, you'll be fine. Do that, you'll be fine. The free advice, the fixer. So tell us how to help with someone who's in pain, how to be able to sit with them in that pain.
All right. Now, I'll just get to that as well. And over here, I was just finishing that point on suicide as well, right? Where we are saying that 1 degree of pain, distraction, 2 degree of pain, sleeplessness is happening. But now imagine if 10 degree of pain, how does your mind show you that pain? Tells you go kill yourself.
Can't bear it.
It's unbearable. It's not necessarily always going to come in the way of, I can't bear what is happening with me. Very often hopelessness sounds like there's nothing that can come in. There's nothing that will work. Sometimes uselessness will sound like, I think my parents may be better off without me. Right? Now,
or
the person is not
the cause of their misery,
right.
So end that cause.
I am a burden on them.
Yeah.
Now, if I take myself out of that, yes, they may cry for a few days, but it will be good for them. Where is this coming from? This is pain. This is your mind telling you, kuch toot gaya hai, something has broken. And just the way your mind needs to be able to explain, show the different intensities. right? This is the way mind shows. Mind operates in thoughts and feelings. But before it even reaches somatic state, it operates in thoughts and feelings. What is the thought it is generating here? Die. Because the pain is unbearable. And just the way if your hand was broken, a part of you may have said, oh my God, I'm dying.
Yes.
Because that is the level of pain you need to experience. Because that is the urgency your body has claimed it needs. It deserves. So pain, acha hai. In a very weird way.
Yes.
And the same thing applies for your mind. And for your mind, a 10 degree of pain is when it starts showing suicidal thoughts. So as long as I'm able to see, then what am I saying? Pain is a symptom. Now let's connect back. What I meant to say when I'm having suicidal thoughts is not that I want to die. What I'm saying is I'm in a lot of pain.
Yes.
I'm not able to bear it. And when someone is telling you that, and coming to your question, Sachin, what do I do when someone is telling, instead of hearing that I want to kill myself, can you hear I'm in unbearable pain right now? And you don't have to go too far. You have your every Indian philosophical book. The one answer, if the person in front of you is in pain, the one thing that you are supposed to do is offer compassion.
Yes. Not advice.
Now, what does but understand that for a lot of us, giving advice
is being compassionate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do you see what is happening here? I'm supposed to do something nice. When we say compassion, what I'm sensing here is I'm supposed to do something nice. What is nice? I will give him a life advice. That will help him instead. Right? I will, instead of giving the person a fish, I will teach him how to fish. So it's these things that are coming. But so to question this, your niceness isn't going to save someone. It's whether you are willing to let yourself be uncomfortable. And when are we uncomfortable? When I have to see that my son in front of me has broken his hand. He's going through a lot of pain. There is absolutely nothing I can do for him. But I can just stay next to him. I can be there next to him. Right? That. There is no replacing of that. That, for example, when you got hurt as a child, when you knew it was paining, it was hurting, it's physically hurting, it's not going away, right? And there's nothing in the world that could make it go away. But your mom came, she put her hand on your head, beta bahut dukh raha hai na. Did that not reduce that pain just a bit?
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
And this is that intangible aspect of compassion that I'm talking about. It's not so much as wanting to distract the person, understanding that just like physical pain, you cannot move it's not something that a person gets into. It's not a bucket, or that there is a bucket of pain and someone has put their hand in there. And as soon as you take your hand out, pain stops.
Yes.
This is not how pain is experienced. The person is experiencing pain from within.
So also, why I can't go and sit there is, it's too painful for me.
Then you have to ask yourself a question. Do I need help?
Correct.
Isn't it? Where someone sharing their story is creating ripples in me. It's creating a tsunami in me.
So what's going on here?
The funny part is, are you thinking, if you are thinking that it is their story that is creating the tsunami in you, this is where we have already gone wrong.
Yes.
The tsunami was there.
So it's like this analogy, right, of a gun. If you have a gun with bullets and it's loaded,
okay,
you press the trigger, obviously the bullet is going to come out. If it's not loaded, no matter how much you press the trigger,
it won't come.
So if you're loaded and you haven't even said it out loud that, yes, I feel these things, then it's very difficult for you to go and sit in that pain with the other person. So that's where, again, I'm connecting it to therapy, is self-work is so important.
Right.
So with these trainings, with listening, with, even the suicide prevention and all, when we do that role play and ask our peers also, and you make us do that, I remember that, ask this question. Though it's like, it's a training, we know, whatever, but we realize out of 50, 60 participants, 40, 45 say yes. At some point in life, I did have this thought. And still we are in shock. You know?
Because as long as it was my own personal demon and nobody knew about it, I was handling it, no? Maybe that person can't. If they can't, they need help.
Yes.
What did you do during your time? Nothing.
So again, like suicide is a taboo word and don't use it. Help. The minute we say the word help, when we say vulnerability, even saying I need help takes a lot of strength. And it's not weakness.
Yeah.
So when someone says I need help, a lot of times it's looked upon as, can't you handle this? Are you weak?
Now, I would like to change that even from a area of strength and weakness. Even asking for help, instead of even assigning a label of strength to that, because a lot of people actually are able to do that. They are not being strong every day by asking for help either. But if we are able to look at that as a human being, even asking for help is a skill. Right? For a lot of us, things that we do intuitively, we think that, oh, this is just me. I am like this. No, your childhood, which you don't recollect much of, is playing a big part in the way you are, your relationship with help and help seeking and help giving. A lot of these things are coming into play because of that. Right? So if I'm able to see that this is a skill, then I may be able to practice it.
Correct.
I may need to, I can actually go out of my way and, okay, let me try asking for help. Let me start with asking for directions when I'm going out. Right? Can I make myself at least do one thing where I'm asking for help? But how many of us complain about there are these people who never ask for any help?
Yes.
So begin slow. But the point is, this is a skill. If you do not have the skill, it's not about whether it's it shouldn't be a commentary on your life if you are whether able to ask for help or not. What it should be asking, what you should be asking yourself is, do I have the skill to get help for myself when I do not have enough resources? A second skill I may need to learn is, do I know when I don't have enough resources?
Correct. Yes.
Right? So there are very fundamental questions are there. Unfortunately, through practice, we have brought out a lot of these unhelpful mechanisms. Mard ko dard nahi hota. Unfortunately, there was a research done, and what they found out was among help-seeking behavior, one of the worst performers in that are Asian men, like in the Indian subcontinent. In the world, worst help-seeking behavior. And Indian women aren't far behind. So it's not only a man thing either. Even women who traditionally were expected to be the collective being amongst us, the ones who share with each other, the ones who are able to express their emotions more freely, openly, what we are seeing is even they are isolating themselves. Even they are operating out of silos, where the things that are actually bothering them and causing them pain, they may rarely talk about it with others for fear of judgment. The same fear that their partners may be going through. But even that is coming in the way. So it's not just a man issue, woman issue. As a society, we are currently going through a mental health pandemic.
True.
And these are the signs of it. We are experiencing it at a community level. Unfortunately, because it doesn't have a fancy COVID-like name, we are still not taking it seriously.
And like you rightly said, it's also this, if my family member or my friend needs help, I'm there for you. I support you. I understand mental health. But when it comes on me, I've got it all sorted.
Right, this is the hypocrisy of the caregiver, right? Like if I'm the... And this is important to understand. This is why there's a high rate of suicide even amongst doctors, surgeons. Where if you put the person on a pedestal, आप doctor ho, you are a doctor, you are God. Then who is the God supposed to get help from? Right? If I am God, who do I ask for help?
Correct.
Because I am the one responsible for others' well-being. Suddenly, thinking about my own well-being becomes almost unthinkable.
So like you also, I recently saw on YouTube that, it was more like caregiving for the caretakers. People who are in mental health practice constantly, like you said, it takes a toll.
Yes.
So then you also need to have that space for yourself.
Right. And self-care is not being selfish. Self-care is sustenance for longer work. if you believe suicide is an important cause, that you want to work in this space to help people going through a lot of pain, do you want to do it for only 2 days, get a photo done and continue with your life? Or do you want to work in this space and be there available for people for a long term? If your interest is in being there for long term, self-help measures, self-care measures have to be put in. If I plan to enjoy sweets till the end of my days, I need to brush my teeth every day.
To be able to enjoy that always.
It's that simple. It's just that. If I don't have routines, procedures in place to take care of my mind, this doesn't mean like, oh, every second day I'm buying myself a gift because my love language is getting gifts. This is not self-care.
Yes. So even post-trainings, I remember you would tell us, go for a walk, go run, do some physical activity, 9 to 5 or whatever you've been in training for the whole day. There's a lot you've taken in. Just go and release that from your body, which I also realize in my practice. It's very, very helpful to at least keep your body in that movement or
and
to do something.
It has a very scientific backing as well. I know it sounds like almost bachcha log abhi khelna, but honestly speaking, if you, for example, study, this was a very simple technique I learned growing up as a child, to be honest. If I spend like 1 hour studying and trying to understand difficult concepts and all, if I take a 5-minute break and I'm indulging in physical activity, it helps me remember longer.
Yes.
Right? Again, very counterintuitive. But when I came across, I was like, oh, is it that simple? Okay, this doesn't, it sounds like such a simple thing to do. And I was like, I tried it, it works. And I'm like, why aren't more people doing this?
Yes.
Right?
So, again, the irony, as therapists, as psychiatrists, as doctors, counselors, we say these things, okay, to people that, okay, along with coming for sessions, try going for a walk or slowly when the person reaches that phase where they can. But then, yes, do it for yourself also. Right. Like you said, to be in this profession and to do this, what do you do, Sachin? Because you've been in this profession for more than 15 years now. What do you do that keeps you, what's your brush your teeth?
I have an amazing, like I said, when I said I was privileged, I didn't mean like I'm made of money. I have just the most amazing support system in my life. I have been blessed with people who have shown compassion when I was wrong. I have had people who have shown me forgiveness when I didn't deserve. I have had people in my life who have stood by me when maybe I haven't with them. I have had such beautiful examples in my own life. And I think that's why even for me, like a lot of people complain this to me about like, Sachin, you just listen to me, you never share. But I'm like, very often my sharing just happens so naturally with the people I love and all of that. It just, I'm constantly trying to live. Right. So it's not rocket science. It's literally not. Right. When I know my next few days are going to be really hectic, I just increase on my mindfulness exercises. I know for a fact that, okay, I may, instead of sitting for 10 minutes every day for meditation, if I'm going through a hectic time period, then I may need to sit like twice or thrice.
And even those small little, it's not necessary that you have to sit and meditation in our head is like you have to be still for an hour.
Everyone has a different meaning of meditation. Sorry for bringing that word up. Everyone has this very weird understanding of meditation as well. But simply put, like having exercises for your mind as well.
Yes.
Let me put it that way. And exercises, all your exercises should involve some level of release and some level of control. So even if it is a physical exercise, practice releasing your energy. There should be some practice that you should have where you are expelling energy out and some practice where you are controlling it. The same way for your mind, where you are, what that can look like is times when you're focusing. Right? So you have to practice concentration and you have to also practice abundance of being untethered. Right? Because your daily journey, this is where you're oscillating between complete control to complete abundance.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not used to abundance, it would feel reckless, scary. If you're not used to control, it can feel restrictive.
Yeah.
You see, both these are going to be the challenges. So the point is to introduce these exercises, simple things, again. And if you feel like when I'm trying to do simple things as well, I'm struggling, maybe get help.
That's the sign for you.
That's a sign. It's as simple as that. Zukam, I'm sneezing every day. I will not go to the doctor if I sneezed for even 2 days for that matter, Rashmi. But if I'm sneezing for a week,
now I have to.
Please, right? So the same thing, I've not been able to sleep for 2 days. Sure, you're having a hectic life, but it's been almost 1-2 weeks since I've not been able to sleep properly. Right? Should you not maybe
Self-check.
Right? Like, why is this like, this is just difficult life? No, go get help. You don't have to go through this.
True.
You know?
You've trained thousands of people. What is that one challenge, when you have to train them? If I may just refer to what we were talking just earlier, can you share that? What does your workbook say?
So, so when we are, majority of our training focuses on developing listening skills, right? How to be a receiver. And every time the main question that is there every single day of the training is, what can I say? Right? Now, we have to take a second to truly understand what is there is a paradox here. You're here for a training as a listener. I want to listen. But your question is, what do I say? Like the organs you have swapped.
Yeah.
You came in thinking about the ear, but now you're asking me, what do I do with my mouth? The answer is shut up very often. Right?
Actually.
So it's about what is it that is coming in the way of your listening? That should be your question. And when I'm listening, what does that mean? Simply the message or whatever the person was trying to communicate with me. Did I hear that? Like, for example, I know controversial topics are a favorite of mine. So, right? If a person comes to me and is saying, whenever my wife goes out, I really get stressed. I feel like she may be cheating on me. Right?
So the part we listen to is, she may be cheating on me.
Nah, what you heard was, this guy is insecure.
Now,
if this is what you heard, I have a person who's insecure, then you weren't listening. What you just did was put a label.
Yes.
What you are doing is not listening to understand. What you did right now was listen to judge, to make a comment. Because that was so the question here is, did the person ask you, do you think I'm insecure? Is that what the question, or is that what the person was sharing with you? No. What the person was trying to say is, I feel discomfort when this happens. Right? So if I'm listening to him, I would probably just clarify, that sounds like it's been affecting you a lot. Do you want to tell me more? But if I've already decided this is a typical insecure Indian man, then I already know what to tell him.
So the way you said, it's the organs that are, at work over here. So from the time the person is making that statement to what's going on in my head, what I'm processing, and then what's coming out from here.
I'm not processing what the person is saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a mental map of the person.
Based on my own biases, my own judgments.
Right. Because an insecure person needs to build their confidence.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, so go to the unsaid over there. And that sometimes is a challenge.
Right. Or even not the unsaid, Rashmi. At least try to see, or if you didn't understand, ask them, what were they trying to say?
Yeah.
Right? But when the person has said something and automatically it has triggered us and has got out like 4 judgments, then am I really listening? Or am I here to teach the person? If you are taking a guru role, and then you call yourself a listener.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Right? So aim should forever be, let me understand what the person is trying to say. Very often than not, the solution, the fixes, all the things, and if you are judging them like that's this person is so disgusting, he's so insecure about all these things, it must be so discomforting for the wife and all, you must be all right. But right now you are listening more to his wife than him is also something you need to understand.
We also jump.
Right?
We take a fast train and we jump way ahead of the person. Has he had this experience in the past? Oh, is she doing this already? Or like you said, judging the wife also instead of just passing judgment on this person.
So where we can just simply listen and let the person show us the vibrance of their world.
Yes.
Rather than us, oh, I have already reached, it looks like this, right? It looks like this, right? It's this bad, right? Why are we going there? How about we just go with them? Okay, we are here. What does this look like to you? Rather than telling them, oh, this looks uncomfortable. Well, it is for you.
So it's like taking that baby steps and entering their world, then understand what the discomfort is. But we want to get it right in the first go. Like, okay, मैंने paraphrase किया. I asked a question. I got the answer. Wow.
Perfect.
Now Sachin is going to say, good role play. You're a listener now.
Right. This person has been dealing with 10 years of depression, but 45 minutes of conversation with you and you have fixed it. Great. You should have your photo somewhere. But is that what is happening though?
No.
So if you are in the profession to seek validation on hearing thank yous from other person of how amazing you are, wrong profession.
I agree. Totally.
Right? But instead, if you are ready, like in our suicide prevention circles, how we identify our role is more like an ambulance driver. What is it that an ambulance driver does? Does he decide who should enter his ambulance? Does he stop a murderer from getting into his ambulance?
No.
Does he stop an industrialist or a beggar from coming into his ambulance? None of those things there is no restriction. And when the person is inside the ambulance, does the ambulance driver say that I am going to make him live, I am going to save his life no matter what? Or his job is purely to accompany the person till the hospital? They reach the hospital, do they even get a thank you?
No.
They have to run back for the next call.
Yes.
That's what a suicide prevention volunteer's job is.
That's explained so beautifully.
No
thank you said, no, even for that person saying, I've done my job.
Absolutely zero validation. But then does helping someone in their pain, does that resonate with you? Because that should be, or ideally that should be done even without a thank you. Are you willing to get that? Right? So that's the tricky place where you're not going to get ever a validation that what I did there was a great job. It was a really good call. As a suicide prevention volunteer, you will never even know whether you saved a life. Did you know for a fact that the person who called was in fact attempting it, or was it a lie? And when you heard the person say, okay, yes, I'm going to get ambulance help now, are you sure they did? For us, it's never, the story never has an ending. We are not even sure if the person who has gone silent on the other side, whether they died or did they fall asleep. Now, do you see where the challenge is? Yeah. These are logistical issues. Like you can be a romantic at heart, but you also have to maintain some level of objectivity, knowing that I will never know what is the outcome. I will never get the satisfaction of saving a life. I will be part of all the worst things that this person has gone through without ever having any positive news from them. This is as unfair and hopeless a situation you can be in. Do you still want to sign up? And if you are willing to sign up there, are you also understanding that what I am offering is helpful to the other person is also helpful to me? That means when I am putting myself in a situation where I listen to this pain, maybe I should also get someone to listen to mine.
Me. Yeah. Yeah.
That becomes the self-care.
Hmm.
Otherwise, a lot of caregivers' hypocrisy is just this. I am there for everyone.
Yeah. I'm the savior. I'll take care of you.
I'll take care of you no matter what. Do you have the resource? I'll manage it.
Hmm.
Who's
Why?
going to take care of you? I don't need it.
Yes.
It's me taking care itself fulfills me or whatever. But yeah.
One myth about people who work in suicide prevention helpline or be a therapist or a counselor. If you've had that personal journey and then you've come out of it, now you want to give back. The family is always worried, oh, you will get re-traumatized. That is something I also had to. You're doing this, it's good, but will you get re-traumatized? Will you get affected if you're constantly listening to somebody's pain? Will you be able to hold that space? So what I also hear is, oh, you were not able to hold it for yourself. Now how can you do it for somebody else?
Right.
What do you have to say on that?
Their worry is not unfounded. What do I mean? Dysphoria does travel between people. However, if it is someone who has healed from, for example, if I have broken my hand ever, I have healed from that hand break, and then someone in front of me has a hand break. Can I offer support to that person? Will that break my hand?
No.
I have healed from mine. I can be there for this other person. It is not putting pressure on my hand. Now, how do I to translate that? If I'm there when someone is going through a lot of emotional pain, when I'm being there for the person, very clear, if I'm not able to make a demarcation that it is their pain, they have gone through abuse. They are the ones who are going through a very tough time. The exams are coming up. There's no money. There's loan. There's this, there's that. It feels almost impossible. You do not have to make yourself go through that. Like very often we feel that this is where the empathy definition comes into play as well, where we have kind of we believe that empathy is about putting yourself in someone else's shoe. And how do I do that? If the person who has called me lost their father, what do I need to do? In my head, kill my father. This is traumatic.
Yes.
Why would you want to do that to yourself?
I also remember you sharing this in the training that sometimes your own shoes are so uncomfortable for you.
Right.
How are you going to even try
Now,
somebody?
think about the same thing. Even if you are the one who lost a father and you're talking to someone who has lost their father, the pain that they had in that relationship loss and the pain that you are having in your relationship loss with your father, the equation that you had with your father and the equation they had with their father, is it ever going to be the same?
With my siblings, it's different.
Can you please believe that then?
I mean,
right?
We've had the same father.
Yes.
When we lost him, the way I processed grief and the way they both are, it's completely
different, right?
And here again, like the suicide question, since this has come up, with grief, what we also do is we stop talking about that person. I mean, I've realized in my family, we don't talk much about my dad because it'll bring pain. So,
everyone is trying to protect someone else.
Yeah. So it's a cycle of rescuing each other from it.
By distraction. And we are doing collectively suppressing.
Yeah. So why can't we together sit in that pain and say, okay, I miss him and I want to cry. And just
you can cry in that pain. You can laugh, remembering memories. You can, and because all of this is a natural, because we tend to think about what is the best way to go about it. Stop. Just be.
Yes.
You are in pain. You feel like screaming, scream. Hopefully the people around you will understand.
Sometimes, hopefully, they will also just express what they are trying to hide.
Yes.
So, even the conversations that we have around grief, here again, being that listener, shut up and be there.
Yes.
It may sound really very rude, but that's exactly how you need to be.
And if you are feeling overwhelmed with what they're sharing, maybe what you are saying is, main bhi bhar gaya hu. Even I need someone to listen to me.
Correct.
So, having that awareness, but awareness without action is pointless. So building that awareness, but then if you are someone who's in a caregiver role or someone who's a mental health professional, the science you believe in, you should believe in it enough that you are able to utilize it for yourself.
Correct.
Too.
Again, another thing here, that timeline for pain, for processing things, for grief. Like I said, me and my siblings have processed it completely differently because of our relationship with my dad.
Right.
Now, putting a judgment on that timeline, it's been a month, it's been a year, it's been 2 years. Even if it is 20 years, I will still feel the pain of losing him.
Sure.
So, how do we, define that timeline when people start?
We need to. That's the whole point.
But we get restless, right? It's been a year, get over it.
So when someone is, for example, if the person in front of you is saying that, okay, a simple example, I had a breakup. And it's been a month and the person is still, when you speak to them, oh, what has happened? Oh no, Sonal, yaar, I miss Sonal. Right? This is what we are talking about. And what you are saying is, oh my God, I've heard about this Sonal so many times. Can you please stop? Essentially what you're saying is, I'm bored of the story. Right? It's not their pain. It's more about the story. It's like, I don't want to hear that story again. I know exactly how it goes. Then maybe you should move away from the story. But then what do I do? How about check with them? What are the other things that are bothering them as well? Since this has happened, how it is impacting their life in all the different ways. Is it, if they have been going through this pain for over a month now, how is that impacting them? It may seem like the same story, but they are talking about it in a very nuanced way. They're sharing not just the story, they are also sharing their emotional state and their feelings. As long as these internal spaces get some light, the person will probably just keep on continuing or repeating the same story. Why? Like earlier we had mentioned, being an emotional support volunteer, it's almost like the people calling in, they are singing. Right? When just like a song will have words and meaning, and there is the mood and the whole ensemble of the song. There is also the sare gama pa that is there, part of the tune or the melody of the song. Our job is to help the person reach the sare gama pa of that melody. Because the words is visible to the person. The meaning is perceivable. We can estimate it. The pain is palpable. You can sense it. Feelings, unfortunately, the tune, the music, the sani dapa is right in front of you, but it is, you can't hear it. And for that, you need a trained ear. This is where when we are looking at advanced listening lessons, right? This is where we help you reach, where you're able to understand, not understand, but you're able to reach the space of feelings that the person is going through. And through active listening, through that proper deep listening, the person is able to actually know and hear their own song for the first time. And if I see that, oh, the song I'm singing is Sani Dapa, Sani Dapa, Sani Dapa again and again. And what could actually be helpful is like Gama Resa is what would have been helpful for me. I'm able to do that. But if I don't even know I'm doing this Sani Dapa.
So you don't know how to change.
Yeah, and I'm focused completely by the words and the meaning of the song that I'm singing. I am missing out on something very crucial. This is the aspect that rarely is explored, and this is where deep listening also comes into play.
There is a lot more to uncover with Sachin, so we will be covering this in the next episode. If you or someone you know is dealing with any of the issues that we spoke about in our conversation, please feel free to check the description. We have given all resources that you can reach out and ask for help. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's okay to say, I need help. To know more about all workshops and trainings that Sachin conducts, we've also put the resources in the description. Thank you for being with us today. Let's talk, let's share, let's heal together.